Hello and welcome back to Myths and Mysteries on Black and White with your two hosts, Josh and Ed.
Which say,
and welcome to our very, very first interview. And today we are joined with Austin Alvarez of the Bizarre Junkeez podcast. Austin, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good here across the pond. I'm so thankful for you guys to have me on.
Yeah, no, thank you for coming on.
Yeah, we appreciate it so much, my man.
Yeah, just a quick shout out before we begin. If you haven't listened to the Bizarre Junkeez podcast on different various podcast platforms or on YouTube, highly do recommend. I'll leave a description. I'll leave a link to their channel in the description below. So yeah, really do check them out.
Yeah, please do.
Thank you. You're far too kind.
No, I'm on my drive to work and now I've been listening to your podcast and everything, and it's just, it's brilliant.
It is honestly brilliant. Yeah. Well, I mean, we've been saying maybe not identical, but very similar to us over here. So it is quite surreal. Like UK and US doing the exact same thing. It is quite surreal.
Yeah, it's mad.
Yeah, it is definitely.
So I suppose the best place to start is, where did your interest in the likes of cryptids, true crimes, conspiracies, where did this all originate from?
Yeah, so I don't know if in the UK you guys had this channel, but over here in the States we have the Sci-Fi channel.
Yeah, we have that.
Okay, so when I was growing up, when I was a kid, I had a TV in my room, and I would always watch the Sci-Fi channel, and there was always like Ghost Adventures was on, Ghost Hunters was on, and then Expedition Unknown, I believe that's what it's called. Yeah. So I watched the ever-loving life out of all of those shows.
Yeah.
And so at like 8 years old, it peaked. And then I kind of fell off for a couple of years. And then my late friend and I, a few years ago, were like, hey, we should just start a channel because we love talking about this stuff anyways. And so that kind of kickstarted into what is Bizarre Junkeez today.
Yeah. Very, very similar with us, isn't it? We've always been talking about that similar kind of thing. And then our friend was like, oh, why don't you just start a podcast? And we're like, you know what? Fuck it, why not?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because I've always been into cryptozoology ever since a little kid, being like with Nessie and Bigfoot and that, and then same as you, like dropped off for a few years, trying to like grow up in a sense. But then I think majorly when COVID hit and we was all locked inside for fucking weeks, I got right back into it because I started watching Mountain Monsters and shows like that. So, and that really got me back into it. So ever since then I've just been like head deep straight in it. Yeah, I love it.
What would you say, out of all the topics you've covered or are yet to cover, what would you say is the one that you're particularly interested in the most?
So for me, I did a video on it, and I've brought it up a couple of times on the show. And that is exorcisms, because I was always fascinated by them as a kid. Yeah. And once I learned about like what mental health really was, and mental health diseases and stuff like that, I was really kind of like puzzled as to like, okay, what really is this? What is going on here? And so in the video I did, I went into all depths of like, I'm pretty sure this was just epilepsy and people just didn't know how to diagnose it back then. Yeah. But it's still so fascinating that like, even to this day, it's something that's been going on for centuries. And it still happens today. With cryptids, though, for me, the biggest one, because this one hits, because not so much for you guys where you're located, but for me, I'm in Nevada. So I'm near a ton of Indian reservations. So skinwalkers are like not an uncommon thing to hear. I have friends who live in Arizona who are Native American, and they get mad if I mention it.
Oh, really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're like, we don't talk about that, all right? And I'm like, hey, all right, hey, you don't want to talk about it, I won't talk about it, okay?
Yeah, fair. But is that actually the word skinwalker, or is that the actual tribal name for it?
Like the native word sort of thing.
Yeah, native word, sorry, yeah.
I don't remember off the top of my head the native words. Skinwalker is what it translates to.
Oh, okay.
But so everybody just calls it Skinwalker. Even natives will refer to it as Skinwalker.
Oh, yeah, fair. Yeah. Oh, okay. No. Have you been on any like investigations? Sorry, yeah. Have you ever been on any like investigations, ghost hunts, cryptid hunts, anything like that?
Not yet, and I say yet because do you guys ever play Fallout New Vegas?
I've seen people play it. I've never personally played it, but I
Okay.
get the gist of the game and everything.
So the starting town in Fallout New Vegas is a town called Good Springs, which is a real town.
Right.
And so a little backstory me. So I'm actually inside of Sticky Paws Studios right now. I am actually a full-time podcast producer.
Oh wow.
So that's kind of what that's how I've been able to really focus on Bizarre Junkeez is like, oh, I'm already here.
Yeah.
I can really funnel resources into it. I have a show with a guy who owns the Pioneer Saloon in Good Springs. Now, Ghost Adventures have done an episode on it.
Oh wow.
And so him, myself, and then another show that's here want to do like a ghost hunt at the it's like said to be super haunted.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
But no, not yet. I'm not gonna lie. I'm kind of scared when it comes to that kind of stuff, which is why I do this side where I can be safe.
Where you're
studio.
safe. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say we've got one coming up very, very soon. It's apparently that's
a couple of weeks.
Yeah, a couple of weeks, and apparently that is incredibly haunted. I mean, we've got our local town's got a castle where we've got access to the dungeons, whereas apparently insanely haunted, the works. So
yeah,
very much looking forward to that. So yeah, again, we're pretty much in the exact same boat as you.
Yeah, because it's meant to be haunted by a famous witch hunter from Britain called Matthew Hopkins. And apparently, even though he was buried in Essex, apparently he is still haunting Wisbech Castle because he done a lot of witch hunts there. So I'm really looking forward to that.
That is going to be fun.
Yeah,
sounds intense. Yeah.
Proper shit myself, but I'm really looking forward to it at the same time because I feel like it's just getting out there.
Yeah, exactly.
Get out there, get a hunt on.
Yeah, especially when I don't know if it's the same for you, but especially like when we cover all these different kinds of things, and you're like, even if we don't see or hear anything, to be in the area where it supposedly has occurred, whether that be a cryptid sighting or a conspiracy or a paranormal type thing, just to be in that exact spot, it just sends goosebumps down your spine, sort of thing.
Yeah, massively.
100%.
Yeah.
What cryptid? Because let's say I'm a big cryptozoology fan. I'm training to be one anyway. But what cryptid do you think could be the most fathomable, like the most real out there?
So for me, I had a guy on the show who has been researching Sasquatch for over 30 years.
Right.
And he said, I'll send the photos he sent to me to you guys too after this, but he sent me some photos, and like the amount of stories this guy had, like, and he has a YouTube channel, but he's not selling out, like, if that makes sense. Like, it doesn't seem like he's coming up with these ideas to just make a dollar and leave. That one seems the most fathomable because I've been camping, not in the Pacific Northwest. I've been up to the Pacific Northwest. I understand how deep and dense the forests are up there. And this guy was in Colorado, so I've never been to Colorado. I might be going up there later this year, but it just seems the fact that so many people have seen the same thing and for so many years, like, there's got to be at least something that resembles it, even if it's like a bear hybrid kind of thing. There's got to be something out there that resembles it.
Do you think of it as a flesh and blood creature, or do you go in a more supernatural?
So I think of it more as a flesh and blood creature. This guy straight up told me he's seen them open like a zipper in reality and walk through a dimension. And like,
I can't get that through my head.
No,
like it just sounds so out there. Like you see it on fucking Star Trek or something. It just don't seem real. You know what I mean? I'm like you. I see him as an evolutionary aspect. That they've gone their own way, kind of thing, from where we've gone ours, they've gone theirs, and they're just the kings of their kingdom.
100%, definitely, yeah.
Oh, yes, yes. I'm so buzzed because I've heard so many stories. I remember I read one that they thought they were fallen angels, and I was like, oh Jesus.
Do you guys know of the podcast, The Last Podcast on the Left?
Not.
I've heard of it. I haven't listened to him though.
So they're one of the only, like, I listened to several podcasts being in the industry. But they're like the only like true crime one that I listen to. But they're true crime, but they do true crime parent. They're kind of like me. They'll do a whole wide array of things, but they've been around for like 10 years. They did an episode, I want to say it was in Pennsylvania in the 70s. There was like these Bigfoots that would be seen getting like shot out of UFOs.
Right. Yeah, I've heard that a few times.
Yeah, like that one was like, and they're not people to just spew nonsense. They were like, oh, okay, so here's all the books we've read, here's everything we've talked about. And I was like, that sounds insane, but it sounded like more so that the aliens were abducting the Sasquatches to do research on them and kicking them back out.
Yeah. No, I've heard that. I've heard like a few stories as well where people will, whenever they've seen Bigfoot, like in the same hour, say, they've also seen UFOs and stuff. Either they're on mad drugs or they're linked in some way. But like, I could see why there haven't been so many sightings, because they're not from this earth, but at the same time they seem so animal-like.
Yeah, and I suppose they're very, like we've said on podcasts before.
Yeah,
they could very well be our missing link, so to speak.
I think so.
And for them to be so similar to us, it's not fathomable to be from another world, kind of thing.
No,
I mean, that isn't to say it isn't. I mean, you never know until you know.
Yeah.
But see, this ties back into what I was saying about exorcisms. It very well could just be people with undiagnosed mental illness, not knowing what the hell they're looking at.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because we done one on exorcisms and that.
Yeah, we covered. Have you ever seen the Conjuring films?
Vaguely. My girlfriend loves those films. I am not a jump scare person.
Right.
All right. Okay.
You call this childish, but I get mad. Like when I get jump scared, I'm like, I don't want to be scared, goddamn it. I've seen bits and pieces of it. The one that I covered was have you guys seen The Exorcism of Emily Rose?
Yeah.
So that one with Anneliese Michel in Germany in the 30s or 40s, 50s, somewhere around there. That's the one I mostly covered, because that's like, how do you do 67 exorcisms and then the person still dies, and then guess what? You're still charged with negligent homicide for doing all that.
Exactly.
Well, yeah, because she die of dehydration and starvation.
She died of malnourishment.
That's it. Thank you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because like with the Conjuring films, we covered like the two main protagonists, Ed and Lorraine Warren. We covered the actual them, and complete understandable for the film's aspect. Obviously, you're gonna want them to be like the heroes that save the day. Reality, polar opposite. You know, they were theoretically useless.
Yeah.
And so many people like kicked them out because I was like, no, you're making this worse, and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, taking all credibility away.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where my interest in that sort of thing come from.
Yeah.
Because it's like, obviously, you know, from a film aspect, they're obviously going to make it, oh, look, they did well. They saved the day. It's like, but what truly happened?
Yeah.
And that's what spurred my interest in the whole thing.
Yeah. I know what you mean. I thought that, but I remember when we was talking about the exorcisms and everything, and we said like a lot of it could be mental health.
Yeah.
Like you say, it could have been epilepsy or even like schizophrenia or anything like that. Like you say, that was never heard of. You was just a bit weird.
Yeah.
And then there was it took
on.
Well,
with Anneliese Michel, she legit was diagnosed with temporal lobe epilepsy.
Right.
And was given medication, but then she was fed into being a religious martyr. So then she was like, no, I don't need this medicine. Jesus is going to heal me. Next thing you know, they're having a funeral.
Yeah. I know exactly.
That's the way it goes.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Like, with stuff like that, because it's unheard of, they always say it's an act of God or the devil.
Right.
And then,
I suppose the way technology is going nowadays, it is such a very, very fine line between the likes of exorcisms and that and mental illness.
Yeah.
Because if you get this wrong, especially in today's day and age, you're done for.
Yeah.
You're getting the entire book thrown at you, so to speak.
Nah.
I mean, it's still happening today. I mean, at the end of the video, I covered that I want to say 2 or 3 years ago in Northern California. So right here, like a 3-year-old was died from, I want to say, asphyxiation because they were performing an exorcism on her.
Oh my God!
So this is still like happening, like in places where we have modern medicine.
Yeah. But like you say, I mean, everyone's different. with their religions and everything. I mean, I'm neither here or there personally, but everyone's up to them. But they go so far into it, and they think like the Bible's gospel. That's it. And then it just screws them over pretty much.
And sadly, it's not until it's too late where they realise actually this could have been the actual alternative.
Yeah, and what's happened is it's sadly a small child.
Yeah,
lost its life.
Yeah, exactly. So, where would you say I know you said through Sci-Fi Channel, the things like the ghost hunts and all that kind of thing. What about true crime? Where would you say that interest came from?
So that started, I want to say, even younger. My grandmother watched a lot of the like what is now like the ID channel or just like Discovery ID, like where it's a lot of like the murderer was never found.
Yeah.
So I mean it kind of was like a hand in hand for me. And then what really fueled it more was listening to the last podcast on the left, and they kind of really inspired me because they would do 3-4 episodes, and they were each like 1 to 2 hours each about like a person, like about Dahmer or about I forgot his name. There's a guy in Mexico who used to do like black magic rituals where they would literally melt people and use their organs as like worship tools.
Oh God.
Yeah. So it gets really crazy. And then what really solidified this channel as more true crime is I had on a guy who was a crime scene cleaner.
Oh wow.
So he cleaned up, and that's where we went viral, was with him. He cleans up homicides, suicides, car side accidents. I don't know if you guys have heard about October 1 here in Vegas, the shooting that happened back in 2017.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Was that the
where is that in the tower?
Yeah, Mandalay Bay. Yeah, by Stephen Paddock.
Yeah.
So he was actually called to that, and then ended up going federal because of how big it was.
Oh my God.
Oh,
so that went viral because I told him don't hold back on the stories. It made my engineer, who normally runs my shows, made him almost throw up.
Oh,
really?
My God.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And so it's kind of like the more I do this, the more it feeds. I'm pretty sure you guys feel the same. The more you do this, the more it feeds into your like curiosity and knowledge. And you're like, man, I want to know more.
Yeah. But it was the same with me, like, well, it's a bit different, but like with cryptozoology, like, you hear of Nessie and Bigfoot, they're like the main two, but then all of a sudden I heard stuff like of Mothman, of Wendigo, of Skinwalker, of Goatman, and then it just kept going.
Yeah.
Thinking, the whole planet's full of stuff we don't know about.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the scariest one is the person you share DNA with.
Yeah.
Quality.
I was gonna say, well, like for me as well, is especially with true crimes, I'd say COVID had a massive play in mine because of the likes of, you had so many true crime documentaries on the likes of Netflix and Amazon Prime.
Yep.
And obviously, because you're locked down, you're like, well, I've got nothing to do, so I'll watch this one.
Yeah,
that was interesting. I'll watch the next.
I'm tired of playing Animal Crossing for the 14th hour in a row.
Watch
this next documentary.
Don't. That is all my little sister wanted. Josh, can we play Animal Crossing? No.
See, for me, it was bad because I got my girlfriend into it.
Oh wow!
Right.
And then it was all right. Now we're all playing.
I'll always remember like my favorite one was "Don't Fuck with Cats."
That was insane.
That was mind-boggling. Like they were better than the FBI. Like, they should be hired because they were unbelievable.
Hey, if you allow 4chan to do anything, they'll figure it out.
Oh yeah, 100%. You give them the free run. You can't even comprehend what they will come up with.
Yeah,
I don't even think they know.
Exactly. Yeah. Their possibilities are fucking endless. What would you say, like being like quite a successful podcaster, like because we've been doing this just over a year now.
Yeah.
How would you like to help like a startup podcast or like yourselves and that, like to grow in a sense? But how would you what would you recommend? Say.
So I'm gonna take off the Bizarre Junkeez hat, and I'm gonna put on the Austin Alvarez hat, aka the podcast producer hat. So I've started up 5 of my own shows, and then I have 13 other shows that I produce here.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's a 24/7 job. I've worked. One of the shows that I started was with the dad of the Jonas Brothers.
Oh wow.
So I have all the accolades
Yeah.
needed for people to want to take me seriously. But what I would say is consistency is key.
Yeah.
Understanding your brand.
Yeah.
And you don't necessarily have to niche down. Like for me, I could just be a true crime only or a cryptid only podcast or an alien only podcast. But also understanding, having realistic expectations. I've had a few shows where they come in and they're like, hey, I'm in the most oversaturated podcast, genre there is. How come I'm not seeing numbers? It's like, well, we have to manage expectations. We have to understand basically who are the heavy hitters
Yeah.
in your genre. But other than that, a lot of people I know are scared to start episode 1 because they think it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. It's episode 1, but you cannot do episode 100 if you don't do episode 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
100%.
That's good. Yeah, because I remember when we first started, like the first couple, we was like, yeah, they were good, really good.
Yeah.
But then after the first season, then listen back, think, oh my fuck, we were shit. Yeah. And then, but like you say,
So,
I agree.
As soon as you get into the role and the routine, it just becomes a far lot more comfortable, and just from there,
yeah,
it is literally just like, okay, so how can we get bigger? How can we get better? Yada yada.
And I think, I mean, like for me and you, because we're me and you are such good mates, and as well, like we bounce off each other and we thoroughly enjoy what we talk about.
Yeah.
And I think that comes across as well.
Yeah.
Like when you say, like, for other people, and when they start doing like their own whatever they want to do, if they do thoroughly enjoy it, it will help them a lot more.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's inspirational quote of the year.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes, and like with my channel, I didn't do anything out of the normal to go viral. I just kept posting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it just, TikTok picked up one of them.
Yeah.
And literally overnight, we went from 300 people to 3,000. And then in the week, we went from 3,000 to almost 20K.
That is, I was going to say, that's how I found you, was through TikTok, literally just scrolling through, saw your podcast.
Now I got to ask, which one did you see? I'm curious now.
I think, because it sounded familiar when you said it, I'm pretty sure it was one of the clips of when you was talking about the guy that is the crime scene cleaner. I'm pretty sure it was one of them. It was that, and then after I sent you the first email, I remember flicking through, and I think I saw something about the Last of Us, whether the actual fungal thing could actually happen.
Yeah.
Humans and everything, which I thought was really good, because that game and that TV show I thoroughly enjoy. So listening to that episode was incredible, because I'm like, actually, it really could happen. It's actually quite terrifying how much truly could happen.
Because didn't they say we're like 3 stages away from that actually happening?
Yeah, something like that. It was like I remember in the first episode of the beginning scene of the first episode, they was on about like how it's not transferable to humans unless things like the planet got warmer and all that kind of thing, and you're like, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay, that's actually happening. Oh God.
Yeah, that's scary. Well, I'm glad that Russian spam bots aren't eating up all of my analytics.
Yeah.
But no, I think because you sent me the link to your YouTube channel, and the first one I watched was about skinwalkers, and I was so I got into that.
Oh, that's an old one. That is like the second. I vividly remember making that video. So my late friend and I, he passed away in August 2021. But he started the channel with me, and he actually started another podcast with me that you should still be able to go find. It's called the Lukewarm Cinema Podcast. It actually is with one of my coworkers. It's actually how I got to know this studio.
Yeah.
But we were in, at the time, my parents' bedroom, because they were gone on vacation, and we needed a quiet room. And I have a little one, so he was he was about a year and a half at that time. So he was, noise was a thing for him. Yeah. And so we needed just a quiet place to record. So we went to my parents' bedroom, and I remember I had this Zoom recorder, and we were just we wrote up the script. We would review it. We would look at it, and then we would refine it and be like, all right, cool, it's ready to record. And then we would record it. And then, so my profession, what I started out was a video editor. So like, once we got all the assets and everything together, it took me maybe 30, 45 minutes to make that video.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember both of us sitting at my desk at like 11 p.m. So of course we're like, what was that noise? while we're making this video. But I'm glad the old stuff holds up still, because we've really I don't know if you guys have seen the last two I did, which was exorcisms and then shadow people. The channel used to be called The Truly Bizarre, and then I was technically bought out by the place that I work at, and so now I'm able to funnel studio resources into it. And so now we've taken on more of a like a Netflix documentary style with our filming. I have an associate producer who cuts all my clips, who helps me do research. She'll find a good topic, she'll bring it up to me, and then I'll go ahead and cross-reference all of the information she gave me. I'll add to it, then I'll write up the script. We'll revise the script. We'll have like a meeting about it, and then I'll create a shot list, and then I'll record the audio. I do it usually in the same room. I'll record it, and then I will film the video aspect, and then I actually now the editing process is a lot longer. I'll take about a good 5 to 6 hours on editing now.
Oh, wow.
And so that's why it takes me so much longer to get them out for the documentary videos as opposed to the podcast. Podcast, I record literally how you and I are talking right now. This is how I do most of my episodes.
Right. Yeah, no, that sounds terrifying to me. I think I was born like 50 years too late, because I'm terrible with technology. So I'll just leave it to Josh. I'm like, you sort it. Otherwise, I'll be putting a hammer through
it. I think that pretty much wraps it up, don't you?
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I remember when I watched that your Skinwalker episode. And I was like, I really like it. So then I've been scrolling through, and I'm like, subscribe.
Yeah. 100%.
I'm glad you did that. And so at that time, we were trying to get people, like at that time, we found a video on TikTok, which we showed in that video, of the skinwalkers running across. I want to say that was Arizona or New Mexico.
I think I might know. I think I know which one you mean.
And so we reached out and we're like, hey, can we use this video in our video? And they were like, yeah, just cite me. And we're like, okay.
Yeah. Might be
that's not a bad shout, actually.
Yeah. What we could do for some of ours. But yeah. And it's the video what always freaks me out when it's on the talk of Skinwalkers or stuff like that is the one where it's the man like standing in the field and he's screaming help.
So help. That's you're gonna hate me, but that's actually like fictional. That's like a YouTube show. Like, do you guys remember Marble Hornets, which is how Slenderman became so popular?
Oh yeah.
It's just like that. It was supposed to be real, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was supposed to be like an alien type creature that would take over the person's body and yell help. It's definitely unnerving. You're not wrong there. There's a really good one. We'll have to link up after this. There's a really good one of a guy on his horse and he hears hello, like from a bush.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah.
Okay, that's the creepy one.
Yeah. No, that. I remember seeing that. I was like, nah, that's enough internet for today. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. Oh no, that's brilliant. No, but yeah, we've got to link up because I thank you. I can't thank you enough actually for coming on our show. Like, let's say we're a massive show, but we appreciate it so much.
Well, I appreciate you guys like just giving me the opportunity to come on and talk shop basically.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll try and sort out another date. You're more than welcome to come back on again and have to sort something out in the near future, and hopefully.
Yeah. You'll have to message us or whatever, like a subject that you'd like to talk to us about, like, or whatever. Then we'll properly go into depth with it. That'd be brilliant if that's what you're up to.
Yeah, most definitely.
I think I'm having a stroke. I don't know.
It happens. And that's the thing. Like, that's the thing with these shows is you got to learn how to do interviews more. Because I had to learn the hard way a few years ago with my other show.
Yeah.
Like business owners, and I was like, I don't know how to talk to them at all.
No.
But no, once again, Austin, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah. Please shout yourself out, plug yourself away at now, my man.
Yeah, so definitely. So you can find this show, like all the topics we were just talking about, at Bizarre Junkeez. We're on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Spotify, basically all your major podcast platforms. You can find us. We have some crazy episodes coming up. We have I'm having an FBI agent on who interviewed Saddam Hussein after we captured him.
What?
And then I'm also going to have Jay Wasley from Ghost Adventures on. And that's coming up pretty soon. So depending on when this episode drops, but yeah, so you can look forward to that. I release twice every week. I do a Monday full episode, and then I do a Friday deep dive, which are most of the time just my YouTube videos repurposed onto Spotify and whatnot for people just to get more content out.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Oh,
Brilliant.
Brilliant. Yeah, we'll be keeping an eye on that.
100%.
That sounds mad.
So no, thank you ever so much, you guys, for watching and listening, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Happy hunting.
Right. Okay.